Okay, class. Now I'm going to model a F1 in schools car, and this is a more complicated way of modeling. It's all sort of, it's not free form, but let's call it free form for now, based off of a sketch. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I've got my blank space, is I'm going to insert a canvas. All right. So what a canvas is essentially a drawing which we can actually scale, and then we can sketch off of that. Okay, so I'm just going to select the black pane here, and you would actually expect it to actually maneuver around like that, like it would if it was a sketch, but it's not doing that. I'm going to select the image, and the image I've got is called F1 Sketch. So I'm just going to open that up. Okay, and let's put it in there. And all I'm going to do is hit OK now. I'm not too worried about where it is or what size it is for now. I'll change that in a minute. So there is my sketch. And you can see over here, I've got a new folder created called Canvases. And in that canvas, it's got F1 Sketch. What I need to do is right click on that, and I'm going to hit Calibrate. Calibrate allows me to select two positions. So I'm going to select the end point here, and I'm going to select the end of the car here, and I know that it's 200 millimeters between those points. Okay, and now what it's done is actually scale that canvas to the right size. Now the only problem is now I wouldn't actually mind having it lined up with my Y and Z axes. So I'm just going to go edit canvas. I can actually just move that around now so that as best as I can, I'm lined up. There we go. Hit OK. So there's my canvas attached. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this main section here, which goes around where the CO2 housing is. Okay. And this is probably the most complicated shape in the F1 in schools car, and it'd be very difficult to model it using other techniques. All right. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a two-dimensional sketch here of those lines, just with those lines, and then I'm going to divide that up and create some more sketches as if I've sliced it, and then I'm going to do something called a loft. But that'll make more sense as I go through it. So for now, I'm just going to create a sketch. I'm going to select this black back pane. There it is. And I'm just going to create two lines. And the line I'm going to use is called a spline. There it is. And with a spline, all you have to do is just create it like that. And what it'll do is it'll create a nice, gentle, sweeping line through there like that. And I'm going to do the same for this bottom one, but the bottom one's a bit more complicated. So sketch, spline, and it goes back here somewhere. A bit more. There we go. Now it doesn't have to be exact. And that's pretty much the straight line, so I'll just kick it over there. So now I've got something that represents the bottom curve and the top curve like that. All right, so I'm going to stop that sketch there. And I'm just going to rename that sketch. And I'm just going to call it Canister splines. Okay, we're going to be creating a lot of sketches in this particular model, so it's going to be good practice for us to actually get in and actually label our sketches. All right. Okay, so there's my 2 lines. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn on my origins so I can actually see them, and every, I think 10 mil, every 20 mil, I'm going to create a new plane. So I'm going to create an offset plane every 20 mil. And I'm going to do that all the way through to the very end. 30, 20, there we go. Yep, getting there. Probably be about 10 of them in total. It's 200 mil in length. Yep, I think one more. Yep, just at the very end there. Fantastic. Excellent. So I've got all my sketches in place, all my sketch planes. Oh, sorry, planes I should say, not sketches. I haven't created a sketch on yet. And under construction, you'll see there they all are. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn them off for now, except for the first. Well, the first one's the origin point there. Just because I'm going to work on them one at a time, otherwise it gets a bit confusing. Okay, excellent. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to create it here on this end plane. Spin that around. So I'm looking at it here. Actually, it might be best for us to work on a bit of an angle here. And what I want to do is I want to project the end dots here onto my sketch plane. So I'm going to sketch, project, and I'm going to project it. So that endpoint there and that endpoint there, I'm going to project. Okay. And I'm going to create a circle on the back plane here. So set sketch, and I'm going to put a 2-point circle, which is 1, 2. Okay. Stop that sketch. So now you can see that I've got this circle on the end here, which is fantastic. And if I just go here, I'm just going to call that Can 1 for Canister Sketch 1. Okay. Let's turn that off for now. Actually, I might leave that one on as a reference. Turn my origin off, and I'm going to turn my next plane on, and I'm going to sketch on that plane. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to project, but this time I'm going to use the intersect. So where this top line intersects that plane, it's going to create a point. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the bottom there. You can see it just created those 2 points there. All right, hit OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a ellipse between those two. Okay. Ellipses do cells, don't they? This is going to be a little bit trickier. I'm going to have to create a line between those two. and create a point on the midpoint just there. And then, I wonder if I've got more options here. No, that's a real shame. So create an ellipse, center point, end point, and what I'm going to have to do, so I'm just going to scale it so it's no wider than the last one there. Okay, and I'm going to do this pretty much for all of them now. So okay, stop that sketch, rename that sketch, number 2. All right, turn on my next plane, create a sketch on that plane, just work on the angle here, sketch, project, include, intersect. I'm not happy with that, cancel. Stop the sketch and delete that sketch. It does get very confusing doing this, especially with so many sketches. So what I'll do, sketch, project, include, intersect. That's better. There it is. You can see the 2 points created. Hit OK. Sketch a line between them. Okay, then I can put a point on that midpoint, and then sketch ellipse, midpoint, end point, and then just like that. So that each one's just ever so slightly different to the last one. Okay, rename that. There it is. Can 3. Enter. Okay. Select the next plane. Turn that on. Yep, it's definitely the right one. Create a sketch. Oh, I'm still in sketch mode. Stop it. Create a sketch. And that one there. And you can see, even for me, I'm starting to get a little bit confused. That's totally natural. Mind you, I'm trying to rush it a little bit because I understand it's going to be a little bit tedious doing this. And it's the same process pretty much all the way through. Create a line between these 2 points. Sketch a point at the midpoint. And then sketch an ellipse. Okay, stop the sketch. Rename. Wish I had a rename function there. So I'm getting through there pretty quickly. So be that plane there now. Just double check that. Yes. Fantastic. And you can see now that I've actually passed my exclusion zone for the canister. So that's fantastic. So now I can pretty much size it however I want. Create a sketch. Sketch. Project, include. Intersect. Cancel that again. Stop the sketch. I'm just not happy with that. Delete that sketch. Escape that a few times. There we go. Somehow it must be keeping the selection from the last one. sketch, project include, project, cancel. Intersect, isn't it? Project include, intercept. And there it is, creating the point. Fantastic. Top and bottom, loving it. Sketch a line between them. Sketch a point, midpoint of that. Sketch an ellipse using the center point out to the end. And I'm just going to start to bring that in now. Just like that. Stop the sketch. Okay. Rename this. Five. Excellent. That's the next one along. And you can see the sketches that I've created. And you can see they're following that line set really well, which is excellent. I'm just going to escape a few times there so it doesn't automatically put it on. Sketch on there, fantastic. Notice for me, it works better if I just go back and work on an angle here. It just makes it a little bit easier, I think. Include, intercept, top, bottom, line between them, sketch a point, midpoint, computer slowing, sketch an ellipse, center, out, and just bring that in, or zoom in a bit. There we go. Stop sketch. Okay. Rename that. Canister. Canister 6. Okay. Find the next plane, which I think is plane that one there. Let's just double check. Yep, that's the next one along. And if you've got the hang of this, you could probably fast forward another 5 minutes and you'll be just fine. Escape that. I'll crack on. Project include, intercept, top one, bottom one. Sketch a line in between. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, that's just funny. I wonder what happened there. Sketch. Project include, intercept. That one. That one. Oh, you have to hit OK. Okay. That's the game it wants to play. And you can see a lot of modeling sometimes is very repetitive. But there's something pretty cool about modeling this way. In fact, I'm just going to keep that the same width there. Oh, go in there just like that. And 7. Yeah, modeling is very repetitive at times, which is fine. There it is. And if you're a professional in industry, you'd be expected to move fairly quickly doing this sort of thing. ellipse. Oh no, haven't done the point yet. Now, if we were clever, we could actually create another line on the outside here. We could have had another profile here that dictates that other line, and that would have been really cool if we had done that. But that would have taken a bit more setting up, and this is a pretty cool way of working with this. You'll see in a minute. We're almost there now. So let's just go find the next plane. That one, or is it that one? Let's have a look here. It is that one. Very good. And although it is a little bit time consuming, it's really not taking me too long to create this. And this is a very complicated shape, and I'm only 21 minutes into the video, and I'm almost finished. I mean, you could definitely not quite exactly where I wanted it, but that's okay. And the computer is starting to slow a little bit, I think, with trying to record it and model it at the same time. It's struggling a little bit. So let's have a look. What's the next plane? Is that plane 9? Yep, fantastic. So we've only got 2 more left. And then the fun begins when we actually get to see it come to life, which is really awesome. Project include again. Project. Cancel, not project. Actually, maybe I should explain the difference. If I go project, what it does is it takes that line, and the bottom point of that line and the top point actually draws, see, a straight line. Cancel. The intercept just draws a dot where that line is intercepting the plane that I've created. So they're 2 handy tools to get your head around. Sketch a line. Sketch a point on that line, the midpoint. And I'm using ellipses just because they're easy. You could really create any shape you wanted. It doesn't have to be an ellipse. It could have more of a flat bottom if you wanted it to. Okay, so the next plane is plane 10. Create a sketch on that plane. Right, now with the very end ones, we are using not project include intercept. We're going to project. Actually, this one I can because I've actually gone past it. So let's go project include intercept and just create those 2 just like that. Okay, sketch a line. Okay, sketch a point and sketch an ellipse and zip around so I can actually see what I'm doing here. There we go. Stop. And there it is. Okay. Let's rename these. Cam 10. Cam 11. And I'm just going to hit save now and save that as F1 car complex. Save that. because if it fails for this part, then I've wasted a lot of work. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off this sketch. So all I've got now are these sketches. And notice that because I put a line in the middle, I have to select half and half, but that's okay. The tool I'm going to use is a loft. Alright, and it's like an extrude, but it allows me to go through a series of curves and have that extrusion more or less more or less just follow those curves. So you can see now that what it's created is a fairly complicated shape, okay, which is awesome. And that matches pretty closely with my sketch there. If I turn my canvas back on, which in fact it already has been turned on, it follows that shape that I wanted pretty much perfectly. All right, so I'm just going to save that again there. Wonderful. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a